Today I'm going to show you how to fix Universe in WWE 2K25.
Trash.
That's right, rivalries fixed, match cards fixed, tag teams fixed, your allies, managers fixed, entrances, everything will work completely right in WWE 2K25 Universe mode. And today is a step-by-step guide on how to fix it. Whether you are a beginner and you've never played the game series before, or you are a veteran or an expert and played for all of them like I have spent over 80 hours perfecting the new Universe fix guide for WWE 2K25, the ultimate complete guide. This is, of course, Beach Bytes. I'm BeachBurnBob, and we cover wrestling video games. And we're going to start things off with a nice little tutorial for you to get the Universe to be the greatest ever. And for the first time since WWE 2K17, they have went ahead and actually upgraded Universe. This is the most fixes that we've had in it in a long time. And if you've been playing for a while, I'm sure you've looked at it and you're like, well, it kind of looks the same to me, brother. Well, it does, but under the hood, there is a lot more going on, and things finally work that haven't in a while, and a few things don't work that should right out the gate, but
Trash.
We'll go ahead and get how to fix them too. So let's start off this complete guide for everything you need in Universe mode in WWE 2K25.
Right now on BeachBurnBob.
For this setup guide, we'll be going through the classic mode of Universe mode. If you do play Superstar mode, you go through and set everything up the way we're doing it in classic mode. And then what you would do is then switch it to Superstar mode in the options menu. And all these fixes will apply for you in Superstar mode. Matchups are a lot better in Superstar mode. Still a little
Trash.
You know, we got some work to do. But if you are new to Universe mode is something that you can do, and you create your own universe. You are the booker, you are the creator. Everything you've ever wanted is there, from shows, championships, rivalries, it's all there. When you first get into Universe mode, this is the most up-to-date Universe mode we've had in a long time. The calendar has been completely overhauled this year. It does work correctly up to a point. Rivalries still play a little bit of a problem in it, so that, you know, it's going to be a little buggy here and there, but for the most part, this will go ahead and fix it out for you. If you don't want to mess with any of your match cards and you're happy with Raw, SmackDown, the pay-per-view's crazy everywhere, it will work for a little bit, but it will go ahead and eventually bog down. All of these fixes will make sure that that doesn't happen, and that there's not so much memory on the system that it just crashes out after you've gone 5 to 10 years deep in Universe, or in some cases, you know, 3 months, depending on how much creation stuff you use in your Universe. Whether you use a completely created Universe mode or you use just, you know, standard wrestlers, it doesn't matter. This fix is for you as well. So to start things off, let's go and look at our calendar. The first thing we want to do is completely different than years past, is we want to delete every pay-per-view off of this calendar. Trust me, every pay-per-view, make them go away. That is our first step this year. The reason why we're doing this is to clean out the calendar and give it a fresh reset, instead of having to skip a couple of days ahead like we did in previous Universe modes. We don't have to for changes to take effect. We just have to go back to the main screen this year. That is a huge time saver. So next, now that you've cleared off all of your pay-per-views, they are completely blank, we are going to go ahead and then go to the shows. This is where you decide who you want on your shows and how you want to set them up, what you want on Monday, what you want on Tuesday. To make sure that your days don't change and you don't fast forward any days, do not change Monday Night Raw until last. Change everything else, because if you delete Raw first, it will go ahead and skip a day in your Universe mode. So we don't want to do that. Next thing you want to do, once you have your show set up, you've decided that, you know, you're going to have Raw, SmackDown, all that, your show is set up, we are going to go and clear things out. Now that you know where your shows are at, we're going to piece them together and make it work correctly. The first thing we're going to do is go to the Superstars tab. Now, this is very important. It sounds like a silly step, but it actually makes a lot of difference in the memory of the game. The game remembers that AJ Styles is rivalries with Theory. So we need to get rid of that unless it's something that you want. You don't have to go through and delete everyone like we did in years past. And I cannot stress this enough. Do not delete your tag teams. Anytime through we're going through this process, do not delete your tag teams. Leave them alone and we will come back to that. The next thing that we need to do, though, is now that we're in the Superstar tab, you see your allies and your managers and your enemies, your rivals, all that fun stuff. We're going to clear these out as much as possible. I like to do it completely zeroed out, make all of them disappear. That was a requirement in the prior games. It is not in this year's game. It is fixed, so you can leave who you want. However, managers will be assigned in every match card that you use. If you want managers on and they have 3 managers, every time Theory shows up, Waller's going to be with him if he's assigned as his manager. So if you want one-on-one matches and you decide who you want their managers to be, go ahead and clear those down as well while you're in there. Once you've got all of these cleared out and you're at satisfactory of where you're at, and 90% of your stuff, like I said, should be cleared. You want a max of 1 to 2 rivals and 1 to 2 allies. You don't want the whole thing filled up. So as Universe goes over the years, you will be able to go ahead and see exactly, the changes, and it will put that memory in correctly. So what if we do a deep dive on that? When you're setting your roster up, if you are doing a large show, I would run 50 to 60 wrestlers and make sure you have a minor show. A minor show is where it lets the other wrestlers that aren't doing anything have something to do, so they're getting wins and losses and their momentum's going up and down, and they're still involved. If you don't have a minor show and they sit on the shelves for months, the game will actually forget about them, and then you'll never book them unless you're booking your own shows, and then, rinse and repeat as you go from there. So we have next, we're going to go to title belts. Now that you've cleared that out, we're going to go over to that title belt tab. This is where you decide your champions. You're going to go in and decide what belts you want, who you want, depending on what you've unlocked so far. And cheap pop here, if you're looking for any unlocks, check the channel. We have unlocks for everything in WWE 2K25. But anyway, back to the universe mode at hand. This is where you pick your championships. Once you set your championships up, you're going to want to go ahead and pick who you want, vacate what you don't. Make sure your championships are good. I like to vacate them all out to give them fresh stats for each show. But, it's so up to date this year. If you're doing up to date, you don't need to clean out it that much. It's pretty cool how up to date it's gotten this year. So deep dive. So this brings us to intergender matches, and these are new in WWE 2K25, and you can have intergender matches in WWE 2K25 Universe mode, which is cool, right? Well, there's a little caveat to it. So there are intergender titles that are in the game this year, such as the 24/7 title, hardcore title. It's cool. I love that it's here. If you have intergender set to off, whoever you set this up for, if you take the 24/7 and you put a woman superstar on it, it is now a women's title. If you take and put a male superstar on it, it is now a male's title. If you have intergender on, it will work the way it's intended. And once you put a wrestler in there, they will be male or female, and it can go back and forth. So it's up to you how your universe will run based whether on this setting is set to on or off. So your championships, your superstars are clean, your calendar is clean. Next, we're actually going to go to set up your show. At set up your show, you can decide everything you want. You want it to be Raw, SmackDown, your own custom show. There are plenty of things there for you to do. For this, we're doing the classic Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Once we've got Raw, SmackDown, NXT set up for this, like I said, insert your shows here that you're using. We're going to go through and set our roster up, and we're going to set the roster up. Of course, this should be pretty self-explanatory. Put your roster, who you want on Raw, who you want there. This year, the new superstar screen is absolutely incredible. You can click participants. You can then go through and just look, and you can see if they're on Raw or SmackDown or NXT or where they're at with a little check mark. You can move them from show to show there. It is absolutely amazing. You can go to participants tab and just go ahead and set up your universe for all your shows just on this page. No more flipping back and forth. I absolutely love that this feature is in this year's game. You know what's coming. We have your participants, we have all of your roster, we have your championships. Rivalries this year works like this, and this is where we'll circle back to our pay-per-views in just a moment. This is just a sample size for how to set this up. Rivalries work like this. If you're on a low rivalry, it is a 4-week rivalry. If you're on a medium rivalry, it's an 8-week rivalry. If you are on a high rivalry, it is a 12-week rivalry. So when you put those in, that's when they will end. They will end on those pay-per-views. If it's a 4-week rivalry, 4 weeks from now it'll end. There are stipulations at those pay-per-views for them to extend, but not all the time will they. So keep that in mind when setting up your rivalries. You can have the 4 rivalries per match, or 4 rivalries per show. So keep that in mind. That will keep a bulk up. If you want to make sure and you don't want to run a minor show, what you can do to make sure your wrestlers all stay in and alive in this universe mode is up your match card. Run 8 to 9 matches, and always run 14 matches on your pay-per-view. You want to make sure you have 14 matches on your card. And the reason why you want that so high is because 4 of those matches are going to be rivalry matches. Then if you're running 7 title matches, I don't know, 7 plus 4 is 11, and then that gives you a couple matches for buffers. That's the way I always use it, and make sure that everyone is involved into your rivalries and your roster, and everybody's, just having a good old time. Everyone's getting used that's there to be used. It's incredible to me. Now that you've gone ahead and you've got your shows set up, right? We got our shows, we got everything set up. We got our shows, we got our roster, we got our title belts. We're going to go to divisions. Division is who competes for what title on your show. So that you go through and you set up. You don't want more than 10 guys in a division, or it starts to get a little bit wonky. So for example, if you have the United States division, I try to keep mine around 7 and 8 guys. Then that includes the champion. So I will go ahead and put 7s across the board. Make sure there's 7 rivalries, include the champions. That means there are 8 total wrestlers in that division. Tag teams, I run about 5 to 6 tag teams. Any more than that, and there will be redundancy. So you can go through and set your pay-per-views up to mirror WWE, or to go and do whatever you want with them, or to make them on any day of the week. We finally get Taboo Tuesday back. That's cool, because you can put pay-per-views anywhere. You can put them any day of the week, and it will remember for that next year that, hey, on this Thursday there was a pay-per-view. It actually works, and it works great. King of the Ring winners will go ahead and go on to SummerSlam. If you want this to work in your custom universe and you don't want to use King of the Ring or SummerSlam, still insert those as King of the Ring and SummerSlam. Just go into details, show details, and then just change the name of it to whatever you want, and it will work out great. The Royal Rumble, same thing. Change the names, but just put it in as the default pay-per-view, and then it will go through. So I like to run mine on the 4 months. This was a requirement the last 2 years where you had it on the 4th week. It is not a requirement this year, but your rivalries need to be spread at a minimum of 4 weeks apart. So you don't want a pay-per-view every Saturday and every Sunday if you're running a lot of rivalry matches, because that's going to keep them to go us into the ever-ending rivalry loop that we had at last year's game. As long as you don't do that, that part is gone. So now that we have everything fixed up, we have your rivalries. You know a little bit about them. You know what you're doing. Your calendar is set up. Your superstars are set up. Let's go back to tag teams. There are some tag teams in the game, once you blow them apart, their entrances and stuff are gone forever. That's why I said in the beginning of the video, do not delete your tag teams. And before we go over tag teams, if you're still listening to this and this is helping you and educating you on Universe, can you acknowledge your tribal beach?
Acknowledge me.
and hit that like button for me and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out and it helps more people see this. I want to make sure as many people as possible can get the universe mode fixed so they can get as much fun out of the game as they can, because this year's game is pretty awesome. So let's get everyone who needs to see their universe built. Let's get everyone building a universe and getting them building it, you know, awesomely. So now we go back to our tag teams, and this is where you can insert and change who you want to change. Keep in mind, like I said, if you delete some, it blows up the entrance. It's not coming back. You have to start over. That's horrible. No one wants to go through this process multiple times. This is where you go through and you set who you want to be your tag teams, create your tag teams, and all that fun stuff. The rest of this for your superstar stuff is now completely customizable. You can go through and customize anything you want, everything you want, and it's just a great time. Let's take a deep dive into tag teams for a minute. There are now subdivisions to those tag teams, or your stable can now have tag teams. Let's take American Alpha or American Made, for example. If you have here, you have them, and then you have, of course, the Creed Brother are their own sub tag team. If you wanted to do this, you could also make Ivy Nile and Chad Gable their own tag team, so you could have a mixed tag. The way this works now is you can do this multiple times, but it only works with the wrestlers that are already in that stable. So for this point, I want to make Chad Gable and Ivy Nile a tag team. I'll go ahead and slot them in there, and I can only pick from American Made. Once I do that, now I have that subcategory, and you are able to have tag teams inside your tag teams. So the Bloodline, now you can actually have the Usos, and they actually can be called the Usos. It's really cool. A feature I wanted for years that I'm finally so happy they added to. Now that we have all of our universe put together, we want to save and go back to the main menu. There's a couple of options here that I like to do. For starters, every time you go to universe mode, to make sure that you have as much memory as possible for the game, is to go ahead and never hit continue, but load your universe mode. Load it each time. That way you are getting a fresh cache each time you are playing the game. And the second thing I like to do is, now that I have my universe completely set up and it's perfect the way I want it, and I haven't played anything yet, I go ahead and copy that to another save file. That way I have a copy of this. That way, for some reason, if I decide halfway down the road I want to blow up my universe, or I want to start a new universe once all the DLC's here, or got this or got that, that's awesome. Instead of having to go through this complete setup again, you can go ahead and just copy that over to your new setup, you know, and now you have a new file. Just copy it. Oh, boom. Now you can play again. But this is everything that makes the universe mode so awesome. And this is the best incarnation of universe we've had, the most overhaul that we've had since 2K17. It doesn't look like a whole lot when you look at it on face value, but under the hood, everything works better and different. And you can actually see they are making improvements to it. I hope this video helps you be able to enjoy the game as much as possible, because that's what the wrestling video game's there for, is for our entertainment. Let me know in the comments below, what issues do you have in the universe mode, or what did I miss? There's so much. I'm sure I missed something in this video. And if you're still here, the secret word is hi. Yeah, just, I don't know, let's use hi. And if you're looking for more universe mode content, or you're going through My Rise and you're looking for unlockables, they are all on the channel. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss out, and check out these awesome videos popping up on the screen right now. Remember, make life your beach, and we'll see you on the next video.